Hey everyone! Today's story is about a boy named Mike who struggles with self-doubt, fear, and a poor mindset, believing he's not smart enough and that trying won't make a difference. But everything begins to change when he meets Mira, a classmate who lives with a growth mindset. Through their friendship, Mike learns that mistakes are not failures, effort leads to growth, and fear is just a sign that he's on the edge of something meaningful. This story shows the powerful difference between staying stuck and choosing to grow, and how anyone, even in small steps, can transform their life just by changing how they think. Mike was an ordinary boy living in a small town not far from the noisy, fast-paced city. On the outside, his life looked calm and normal. But inside, Mike's mind was full of worries and doubts. Every morning when he woke up, his thoughts were clouded by fear. He often thought he wasn't smart enough or good enough. School was hard for him, especially subjects like math and science. Whenever a teacher asked a question, Mike felt his heart beat fast, his palms sweat, and his voice stuck inside. At home, he avoided sharing his feelings because he was scared his family would think less of him. Deep down, Mike was trapped in what is called a poor mindset, a way of thinking that makes people believe their abilities are fixed, that failure means they are not capable, and that trying hard won't change anything. Living in this poor mindset meant Mike felt small and helpless. If he failed a test, he thought, "I'm just bad at this subject," instead of seeing it as a chance to learn. If he made a mistake, he felt like giving up. When Mike looked at his friends, who seemed confident and successful, he felt like he could never be like them. His fears held him back from speaking in class, making new friends, or even trying new hobbies. Fear was like a heavy stone in his chest that stopped him from moving forward. Not far from Mike's house lived another teenager named Mira. Like Mike, she attended the same school and had many of the same dreams about the future. But Mira's mind worked differently. When she faced difficult problems in class or struggled to understand something, she did not give up. Instead, she saw challenges as chances to grow stronger. When she made mistakes, she treated them like clues, showing her what to work on next. Mira believed that intelligence and skill were not fixed traits, but things that could be improved through effort, practice, and learning from others. This way of thinking is called a growth mindset. Mira's mindset allowed her to see the world with hope and curiosity. If she didn't do well on a test, she asked herself what she could do differently next time. If a friend ignored her text message, she didn't jump to conclusions. She understood people get busy, and her friendship wasn't in danger. When Mira's heart raced with nerves, she told herself this was a sign she was trying something new and exciting. Instead of being afraid, she welcomed the feeling as part of growing. One rainy afternoon, everything changed for Mike. A final school bell rang, and students poured into the hallways, eager to leave. Mike stood by his locker, searching nervously for his physics book. His hands shook as he fumbled through his bag. Mira, rushing to the library to study, accidentally bumped into Mike. His books and papers fell to the floor. For a moment, Mike's first reaction was embarrassment and frustration, but Mira quickly knelt down to help pick up the scattered notes and smiled warmly. "It's okay," she said gently. "We all have moments like this." Mike's mind was spinning. He wanted to pull away, afraid to look weak by accepting help. In his poor mindset, needing help felt like failure. But Mira's kindness was real and easy to accept. She invited him to study together, saying, "Maybe we can help each other." Mike hesitated, telling himself he wasn't smart enough. He almost walked away, but Mira's calm voice held him there. Don't worry about being perfect. We can learn together. That night, lying awake in bed, Mike replayed the day's events. He realized his fear came from believing he was stuck with the intelligence he had. Nothing more, nothing less. But what if that was not true? What if he could grow? The thought felt strange but hopeful. His heart still pounded, but for the first time, it wasn't just from fear. It was from the spark of a new possibility. He promised himself he would try, even if it scared him. The next morning, Mike found Mira in the library, surrounded by books and notes. His stomach twisted, but he walked up and said softly, "I'd like to study with you." Mira's face lit up. Together, they opened their textbooks and began working. Mira encouraged him with gentle words. "See, you're getting it. Just a little more practice." Mike felt a small pride grow inside. He began to understand that success did not come from talent alone, but from trying again and again. Learning was a journey, not a test of worth. Over the next few weeks, Mike paid close attention to his thoughts. He noticed how often he said things like, "I'm terrible at this," or "I'll never get better." But now he challenged those thoughts. When he caught himself, he asked, "What if I can learn? What if effort makes a difference?" This simple question made his fears less powerful. When he stumbled on a problem in class, he paused and thought, "This is hard, but I will keep trying." Slowly, the idea of effort as a path to growth took root in his mind. Facing fear was the biggest change. Before, fear had stopped Mike from trying new things. Now, he saw fear as a sign that he was stretching himself. The butterflies in his stomach were no longer enemies, but reminders he was moving forward. In class, he raised his hand once to ask a question, and even though his voice shook, the teacher's kind reply helped him feel brave. Each time Mike faced fear, it became smaller and easier to manage. Mira continued her own journey with the growth mindset. She asked for help when needed and kept exploring new ideas with excitement. Sometimes she made mistakes, or friends misunderstood her. But instead of feeling defeated, Mira viewed these moments as lessons. A failed science project helped her learn better methods. A disagreement with a friend taught her how to listen more carefully. Every challenge was a chance to improve. One day, the school announced a big youth leadership conference in the city. Students were invited to present ideas or projects. Mike's heart dropped. Speaking in front of many people felt like standing at the edge of a high cliff. But he remembered what he had learned, to see challenges as chances to grow. He thought about working with Mira to create a presentation about how students could change their thinking from doubt to confidence. When Mike shared the idea, Mira smiled brightly. They spent days preparing, writing a simple script filled with real stories about ordinary students learning to believe in themselves. They practiced many times, facing shaky voices and forgotten lines, but they kept going. Each rehearsal made them stronger and more confident. The day of the conference arrived. The bright lights of the auditorium made Mike's heart race. Hundreds of people sat in the audience. Students, teachers, even news reporters. For a moment, panic gripped him. "I can't do this." Mira squeezed his hand and whispered, "We've worked hard. Let's share what helped us." Taking a deep breath, Mike began to speak. He told the audience how, at first, he believed intelligence was fixed and failure was proof he wasn't good enough. But through effort and asking for help, he started to see mistakes as lessons. He shared how he learned to turn fear into courage by taking small steps. His voice grew stronger as he spoke about replacing "I can't" with "I'll try." He saw faces nodding, eyes brightening, and felt a deep connection. He realized that sharing his real story could inspire others. Mira followed, telling how changing her mindset helped her see school as a place full of opportunities rather than judgment. She explained how effort and learning from mistakes made her stronger. She described how some students gave up too soon because they thought effort showed they weren't smart. Others kept trying, believing effort was the key to success. When their talk ended, the room was silent for a moment before bursting into applause. Mike and Mira smiled, knowing they had given something valuable, not just a speech, but a way for others to change their lives. Walking home under the colorful evening sky, Mike thought about how much he had grown. He remembered the night he lay awake, full of doubt and fear. Now, his heart felt lighter and full of hope. He understood that the difference between a poor mindset and a growth mindset was belief. The belief that effort matters, that we can learn and grow, and that we are not defined by failure. Mira said softly, "This is just the beginning. Every day, we can choose to see challenges as chances to learn." She added, "When fear comes, ask what it can teach you, then take one small step forward." Mike looked at Mira and felt a new kind of courage, the courage to move through fear, to face problems, and to keep growing. He was ready for tomorrow, for every challenge and every chance to become a better version of himself. In today's world, where social media shows only the best parts of life, many people feel like Mike once did, scared, unsure, and stuck in a poor mindset. But those who choose to see challenges as opportunities, who believe they can grow, like Mira, find happiness and success. This difference shapes how we live, learn, and connect with others. A poor mindset says, "I'm not good enough, I can't change," and failure means I'm a failure. It makes people give up early, avoid hard work, and hide from challenges. A growth mindset, however, says, "I can learn, mistakes help me improve, and effort is the way to succeed." People with this mindset keep trying, ask for help, and see life as a series of lessons. Fear is part of this journey. It is natural to feel afraid when facing new things, but fear can be changed from a stopping point into a signal to grow. By noticing fear, understanding its message, taking small actions, reflecting on progress, asking for support, and repeating this process, anyone can learn to overcome fear and develop a growth mindset. Mike and Mira's story teaches us that our minds are powerful. By choosing how we think, we can turn fear into courage, failure into learning, and effort into achievement. This is the secret to living a life full of growth, hope, and endless possibilities.